All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray.
What's up, everyone? I'm Jaren, and today we are talking about the 2022 American remake of Ambulance. This movie is directed by Michael Bay, who's done various action films throughout his entire career, including Bad Boys, Armageddon, The Rock, Pearl Harbor, 6 Underground, 13 Hours, Transformers, and many more. The movie stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and Eiza Gonzalez as we follow two bank robbers who hijack an ambulance after their heist goes completely wrong. First of all, there's like 3 things I want to get off my chest before we get into this review. So starting with 1, this is like the 3rd movie that we've seen with Jake Gyllenhaal that is an American remake of a Danish film. The other 2 were Brothers back in 2009 and the movie that came out last year, The Guilty. Number 2, did Michael Bay just discover a drone like during the pandemic? Was it like his first time? And last but not least, number 3. This is quite possibly the closest thing we're ever going to get to a Grand Theft Auto movie. Come on, Hollywood! Now, when it comes to a Michael Bay movie, there's a certain expectation to be had. Kind of like when you're watching a Roland Emmerich film, you know you're watching a disaster flick, whether it be taken seriously or it's just plain-ass silly. And when it comes to Michael Bay, everything is over the top, whether it be the dialogue, our characters, especially like the cast. Like, they're just so beautiful looking, especially the way they do like slow motion scenes, and especially the establishing shot of like helicopters, jets, planes just flying out through the sky, or even like explosions. Like, everything that gets hit just explodes out of nowhere. And even cars, when they're flying up in the air, they flip like 20, 30 times before they actually land. And whether those cars are soaring through the air or speeding right through the street, the cars are either expensive or the whole chase scene is expensive. And then you got the frenetic cinematography, whether it's this or it's that during the action scenes, or when our characters are talking, the camera's just zooming around. The moment that Gyllenhaal walks on screen, he is a force to be reckoned with. He demands the audience's attention at full energetic range. I was just so blown away at how even funny he was, especially when he was pissed off. It was almost like watching Will Smith from Bad Boys meets Gyllenhaal's counterpart in Nightcrawler. Yeah, that insane. Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, he plays Gyllenhaal's brother. He's a really great actor, and he did a really good job in last year's Candyman, but here, frankly, I was a little disappointed. I felt like we didn't get much of him. You know, his character is front forward, but we don't get that much, including like with his emotional status, with what he's going on, what he's thinking. I mean, I felt like we got a little bit more of the haze that's happening around him than actually that character. And then there's Eiza Gonzalez, who is just more than just a pretty face, and I would love to see this actress do a lot more in her film career, but she was the heart and soul of this movie. An utter surprise. I just love how we're just introduced to her and her character, what she does on a day-to-day basis, and how she's just barreling down, being the best she can be, but just trying to hide away her real emotions. I love her character progression, I love the pressure she was put under, and the way she really shares the screen with our 2 main characters, Mateen II and Gyllenhaal, was just great. Now, I did say before that Michael Bay movies can be very over the top, and it's not just the action scenes that you see on screen, but it's also the dialogue. Like, some of the things can be very silly, not Transformers silly, like that can be very stupid. But here, there was kind of like a nice balance to where there are just some things that they say under pressure that was funny, especially during the serious moments. I was just having a great time and just laughing my ass off more than I expected, because even Michael Bay would be the only director to just reference his own films in his own film. And thankfully, for the sake of this movie, the editing choices weren't as over the top and insanely wrapped around as 6 Underground, because that one definitely kind of pissed me off. And for a 2-hour and 15-minute movie about bank robbers jumping on an ambulance and just running away from the cops the entire time, I was afraid the movie was about to get stale. But for some reason, there are just pinpoints in the story that really keep it relevant, really keeping it fresh, and just really tense throughout the entire runtime. I think the one big criticism about this movie is probably going to be about the surgery that takes place at 60 miles per hour while on a Zoom call. just any medical profession is probably going to look at that and be scoffing, making fun of it, about how unrealistic that could be. Now, I didn't mind it at first, but there are a lot of establishing shots of the downtown LA buildings with the drone, and it would just be so rinse and repeat, where it would go up on a building and swap back down, spiraling right through the city. Like, I was like, Michael Bay, what are you doing? I get it. You're taking advantage of the pandemic and you get to film a movie and go completely nuts over it, but I don't need to see the same methodical shot that you just did throughout the entire movie. Did I have fun with this movie? Oh, absolutely. I was laughing my ass off with my friend. It's not Fast and Furious bad, although I would love to see if Michael Bay ever did a Fast and Furious movie, but it was just like that nice mid-budget explosive action movie that you would get back in the mid-90s, and that's the only kind of action blockbuster movie that I can only see being delivered by Michael Bay himself. I loved it. It's definitely worth seeing on the big screen, and I hope that every auditorium is just top-notching that volume, because our theater is not meant to have the greatest sound system ever, but it was loud. Like, it was a very loud movie that I felt the music vibrating our chairs. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Look forward to more reviews. I'm Jaren Agbanawag, and I will see you guys at the movies. Take care.
I believe some birds